Most people don't lose respect in one big moment. They bleed credibility slowly through habits they don't even notice. They think respect comes from being competent, nice, or agreeable. It doesn't. In every room, there's a silent ranking happening. People are scanning your language, your timing, your reactions, your level of emotional control. And from that, they decide, this person is someone I listen to, or this person is just noise. Authority isn't about status or confidence. It's about the micro signals that tell others you're not someone to be dismissed. The problem? Most people speak like they're negotiating their right to exist. They apologize before forming opinions. They over-explain to avoid being misunderstood. Or they try to sound strong and end up sounding defensive. And then they wonder why their ideas get ignored, why they need to repeat themselves to be heard, or why someone less competent gets taken more seriously. Respect isn't lost when people disagree with you. It's lost when they stop perceiving weight in your presence. This video isn't about speaking clearly or being confident. That's surface-level advice. We're going deeper into the specific phrases, reactions, and blind spots that make people unconsciously rank you lower, even if you're smart, skilled, or well-intentioned. Because once you identify these invisible credibility killers and eliminate them, something shifts. People pause before interrupting you. Your words land with more authority, and your presence stops asking for respect and starts commanding it. Most people lose authority not because they lack competence, but because their language exposes insecurity before they even finish a sentence. Phrases like "I just wanted to," or "this might sound stupid," but signal to others that you're seeking permission to speak, which instantly lowers your perceived value in any interaction. Authority isn't about volume or hierarchy, it's about speaking with clarity and ownership. When you dilute your statements with fillers or disclaimers, your words feel like you're apologizing for existing. People don't respect hesitation. They respect a centered presence that doesn't negotiate its right to speak. Then there's the opposite extreme statements like "that's your problem," or condescending remarks disguised as confidence. This doesn't build authority. It broadcasts insecurity dressed as dominance. Real authority doesn't need to attack or distance. It sets boundaries with calm precision. The same goes for people who throw out "I don't know" and "stop there." There's nothing wrong with not knowing, but failing to follow up with "here's what I suggest next," or "I'll get the answer" shows you're not solution-oriented. Authority isn't about having all the answers, it's about directing the conversation forward with intention. And then there's the silent reputation killer. Excessive softeners, "sorry," "maybe," "just," "kind of." These words act like sandpaper on your credibility. Even praise can be weak if it's vague. "Good job," "good," "how," "on what metric?" A leader doesn't throw compliments to appear nice. They reinforce clarity and growth by giving specific acknowledgement. Real authority speaks without shrinking or overcompensating. It removes linguistic clutter and replaces it with firm, grounded statements. Once someone adjusts their language, they start noticing something interesting: people listen differently. One of the fastest ways to lose respect in any professional environment is by refusing to take ownership when something goes wrong. People think accountability weakens their image, but avoiding responsibility actually does the opposite. It signals that your ego is more important than progress. When someone makes a mistake and immediately shifts blame, the room doesn't think. They're smart for dodging it. They think, "I can't trust this person when things get serious." Professionals don't waste energy defending their image. They use that energy to solve the problem and move forward. If you want to stand out, replace defensiveness with clarity. "Here's what happened. Here's what I'm doing about it." That sentence alone separates leaders from liabilities. Inconsistent communication is another silent credibility killer. When someone replies only when it's convenient for them, gives vague updates, or forces others to follow up constantly, they signal unreliability without saying a word. It's not the delay that damages your image. It's the uncertainty you create. High-trust individuals communicate with precision. "Here's the status, and here's what happens next." They remove guesswork. They reduce mental friction. That's why people rely on them. Consistency builds a sense of stability, and in environments where pressure and deadlines are constant, The most valuable person in the room is the one who makes things feel clear instead of chaotic. Then there's a mistake most don't even notice: engaging without preparation. Walking into meetings, conversations, or negotiations without mental readiness leaves a visible mark. You don't need to know everything, but you need to show that you care enough to arrive prepared. Preparation isn't about perfection, it's about respect. When someone speaks with structured thought, asks sharp questions, or presents even a basic outline, it communicates something powerful. I take this seriously. That alone elevates your presence. People don't remember who tried their best, they remember who walked in ready. Credibility isn't built through big gestures or fancy words. It's a collection of subtle signals people pick up on without realizing. The first killer is lack of self-awareness. People who can't read the room, who interrupt or dominate without sensing tension. Leak insecurity disguised as confidence. You can't lead what you can't sense. Self-awareness is what turns emotional noise into strategic data. It's noticing when your tone shifts from assertive to defensive, when silence is better than words, or when someone's crossed arms are saying what their mouth won't. The moment you start reading those signals in yourself and others, your influence sharpens instantly. Then there's the inability to listen. Most people don't listen to understand, they listen to reload. They wait for a pause just to drop their next opinion. But influence isn't about speaking more, it's about creating space that makes others reveal more. Listening disarms resistance because it communicates control. The same applies to blame shifting. Every time someone points a finger, they hand over their power. Saying "that's not my fault" might feel like self-defense, but it signals weakness. Strong professionals own the situation. Even when they didn't create it, responsibility isn't a burden. It's leverage. It keeps you at the center of the solution. Empty promises and subtle sabotage. Finish the job. Saying "I'll get that done soon" and not following through doesn't just hurt your credibility. It creates cognitive dissonance in the people around you. They stop taking your words seriously, and undermining colleagues, even in small ways, poisons the ecosystem that your reputation depends on. Real professionals protect trust like currency. They don't spend it on ego. Credibility is a silent contract. Once you break it, no amount of charm can buy it back. And ironically, it's not your enemies who destroy your reputation first, it's your own habits. Reputation isn't ruined by major failures. It erodes through small signals people subconsciously register and never verbalize. Poor communication etiquette is one of them. Interrupting constantly, replying in one-word answers, leaving people on read without context, or responding only when it benefits you. These habits create silent resentment. People might never confront you about it, but they quietly adjust how seriously they take you. Authority isn't just what you say, it's how you handle the spaces between conversations. Professionals don't just communicate, they consider the impact of every exchange. Knowing that trust is built in micro moments, reacting defensively to criticism is another subtle reputation destroyer. When someone gives feedback and your first instinct is to explain yourself, justify it, or push back, you're signaling a fragile ego. The strongest presence in the room isn't the one who argues back, it's the one who absorbs, pauses, and responds with clarity instead of emotion. Ignoring negative feedback is just as damaging. When patterns are pointed out and someone pretends not to notice, they communicate a dangerous message. I care more about being right than being better. People might still work with you, but they'll stop betting on you. That's why having a reputation management strategy isn't vanity. It's intelligence. Reputation isn't what you post. It's what people whisper when you leave. Strategic individuals monitor those signals and course correct early. They ask for feedback before it turns into gossip. They address tension before it turns into a narrative. They don't wait for a crisis to repair trust. They maintain it daily by being intentional with presence, language, and follow-through. You don't need to please everyone. You just need to signal clarity, accountability, and composure. That alone places you in a category most never reach. Most people sabotage their own recognition by reacting emotionally to criticism. Hearing negative feedback often triggers an instinct to defend, justify, or shrink away. But this is exactly What signals weakness to others? Serious recognition doesn't come from avoiding critique. It comes from dissecting it, extracting value, and demonstrating growth. When someone offers blunt feedback, it's a rare window into how others perceive your performance. Ignoring it or taking it personally is like refusing to read the map in a maze. Professionals turn discomfort into insight, separating ego from data, and using every critique as a stepping stone for refinement. The next trap is failing to engage proactively in conversations about your accomplishments. Many people shy away from self-advocacy, thinking recognition is earned passively. The reality? People notice what's visible and tangible, not your private effort. Timing matters. Waiting too long to highlight results or contributions allows others to undervalue your impact. This isn't about bragging. It's about strategic visibility, mentioning achievements with clarity, backed by evidence or outcomes, shifts perception. You start controlling the narrative rather than letting it drift and being under-recognized by default. Finally, serious recognition isn't just about taking, it's also about giving. A culture of sincere praise creates reciprocity and positions you as a central figure in your environment. When you acknowledge others with specificity, this approach you suggested saved us 3 days and avoided rework. People unconsciously respect and mirror that professionalism. Recognition becomes a currency. The more consciously you manage it, the more it flows back toward you. Mastering feedback, visibility, and reciprocity together isn't optional. It's how high performers ensure their presence is felt and their contributions remembered. Authority isn't declared, it's detected. You don't need to speak louder, defend your ideas harder, or force people to respect you. You just need to remove the habits that cheapen your presence. Starting today, observe yourself in conversations, the words you choose, the way you respond under pressure, the moments where you feel the urge to justify or over-explain. Authority isn't built when everything is comfortable. It's built in those microseconds between emotion and response. That's where your reputation is either strengthened or quietly downgraded. The question now is simple. Will you actually apply this? Or will this just become more good advice that fades by tomorrow? Start small. Pick one habit you recognized in yourself while watching this, and consciously eliminate it in your next interaction. Watch how the energy in the room shifts. Watch how people respond differently, not because you asked for respect, but because you stopped leaking it. If you want to keep building presence, mental clarity, and silent influence, without the usual sugar-coated self-help, this channel was made for you. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next videos will go even deeper into the kind of strategic intelligence that almost no one teaches, but everyone can feel when it's there.